All right, so we have to take this sheet of paper and we have to turn it into 4 different sections. We're going to do a printmaking activity. So printmaking is taking things from one surface and turning them onto a different surface. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to just take the bottom of this paper and I'm going to fold it to the top. And then I'm going to take this side of the paper and fold it to this side. So I hold it here and then crease back here. So now if I open this up, I have 4 different sections, and I'm going to write my name on the back here and my code. Okay, so I'm just going to set this to the side. We're going to do our first printmaking activity, and this one we're all going to do together. So this is called a printing plate. We're going to get a printing plate, and these are really awesome, and we have to put some paint onto our printing plate. So I'm going to squeeze a little in the middle and some on the corners, just a little. Look how those aren't big giant puddles of paint. And then I take this tool. This is called a brayer. A brayer is like a paint roller, and we use it on printmaking. We usually don't use it for much else besides printmaking. And then you just want to get this paint all over your printing plate. Okay? And then I set this to the side. Make sure you have a paper towel to set it on so we don't get it everywhere. And then you're going to take a paintbrush, but we're not going to use the hair of the paintbrush. We're actually going to use this end of the paintbrush. And we're going to create designs by drawing onto our printing plate. And I don't really care what you draw here, as long as it's beautiful. And you don't want to go too sloppy with it. So I'm just doing a bunch of curved lines and spiral lines here, because I like curves. There we go. Okay, and then wipe that paint off your paintbrush with a paper towel. And then this is the tricky part. Now we have to get this sheet of paper back in front of us here. Okay? And we want to flip it over, and we want to do it in this top square. So I'm going to flip it over. Now here's this top square. You want to line it up on the corner, right there. Press down. And I want you to just pat with your hand all around. All right, once you've patted it in every corner, then you're going to take the edge here, and you are going to very gently peel it up. And you see you created a print. So you took a design from one surface and you have put it onto another surface. Now this is really cool because this would be very difficult to do with paint, to make these lines as clean as they are. So this is why printmaking is so cool. You can get very interesting marks. All right, so that is what we do with a printing plate. So now you have to go put this where Miss Sauer tells you to put it, so we can just rinse it off. And then we can reuse these for another day. Okay, the next printing activity we're going to do is we need a piece of cardboard and we need some paint. So on a scrap sheet of paper I put some paint, and we're just going to see how we make prints with cardboard. And I don't care what square this one goes into. So what I'm going to do, you can use this side of your cardboard. You just wiggle it into the paint. And you can repeat pattern after pattern. And they're all going to be the same size. So this is a great way to make pattern. Like if you're making, this kind of looks like a fence, or if you just want to make cool designs. So maybe I'll do it over here too. And you're going to see the cardboard even leaves this kind of cool mark as you're going. And you can use this side of the cardboard as well. So these would create longer marks. Guys, to notice when I'm printing, I'm just pressing down and pulling back up. I'm not scraping. I could even take the corner and make just little dots. This is all a cardboard print. And look at that cool design that I made just by printing. It goes pretty fast. This would be quite hard with a paintbrush to make these lines all straight. But with a piece of cardboard, it's not that bad. Okay, so I just set my cardboard to the side. We can actually reuse the cardboard. So I'm going to make us keep the cardboard, 'cause once that paint dries, we can just reuse it again. That way we're not wasteful. All right, so the next printmaking activity that we're going to do is we're going to do cookie cutters. So here we have some cookie cutters. And again, you need some paint. And you're just going to take a cookie cutter and you're going to wiggle it into the paint. Make sure you get paint all over it. And you're going to print. Now I'm using the same cookie cutter over and over again because I don't want to get another one dirty, and especially if my neighbor is using one that has a different color paint, I wouldn't want to mix those paints. But if your neighbor is using the same color paint you are, then you might be able to do two different kinds of cookie cutters. I'm just going to leave it with one because I like the way this is coming about. I really like the design I'm creating here, so I'm just overlapping triangles. That's all I'm doing. And it's creating something very interesting to look at. Okay, so that is printing with a cookie cutter. Again, we got to go wash this off. Now these are plastic, so we can just wash these, put them back. Cardboard we don't want to really wash because it'll get wet. Last thing that we are going to do is we're going to stamp using stamps and an ink pad. So this is another way of printing, and this one you might be the most familiar with actually. So I just have a bunch of different stamps, and these are made out of old erasers, believe it or not. I've just carved designs into them. So these are super fun to play with. So I'm just going to take one of these and show you how we can stamp. So I'm just going to press it into the ink pad. Make sure you get all your corners. And then you press it onto the paper and you create a print. And this is another easy way to create the same thing over and over again. And here on the edge, this is why I have my placemat. I can just put it here on the edge, and then it goes on, the rest goes on the placemat. And we can just rinse these off again, so we'll put those back at the sink. And you can try out a different stamp if you would like. And you can even rotate it so it's a different way each time. That way I'm making a pattern. Okay, so here's our artwork showing 4 different methods of printmaking. We have a printing plate, cardboard, cookie cutter, and just regular stamps and ink.